a spiritually filled, thinking woman. And that is what we've been lacking in our community.
Go now to DryerBuzz.com and follow @DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.
I'm not even going to, it's Friday the 13th. We're going to, this is a go with the flow.
There you
go. Go with the flow. Keep in mind, the sound, even though it's great this way, it does pick up everything around because it's Apple. Okay, Apple's just good like that.
Okay.
Right? People be like, what kind of mic y'all using? Hey, we're just good like that. All right, so let me see. I'm going to set this because I know you guys have got amazing things to get to. And it's the language of men. So start 9 minutes. We're going to talk about this play, this wonderful play I've been telling everybody to go see. And that's Brothers of Affliction. But first and foremost, my name is Yolanda. I'm at DryerBuzz, 14-year editor of DryerBuzz.com. This is our 4th generation of streaming, of bringing you a live, interactive show. We realized it was 4th generation because we did our history test. And we went back and we realized we've been streaming since the 90s with Pal Talk. And then we were streaming with Ustream and Livestream. That was 2nd generation. Then came Google Hangout, 3rd generation. And now comes Periscope, Blab, Meerkat, and probably 15 others. So one of the things that we are proud to say is that it's never really been just about us. We've always invited community in and created an environment. And we have to thank Mousy, the proprietor of Tuoia. Tuoia, okay, in the blue building with the white rabbit owned by the Mousy. I'm telling you, you cannot miss that. We are at the center of Douglasville, which is the best town on the way to Atlanta. And it's Veterans Memorial. It is, what's the other one? Bankhead Highway. If you're coming from Alabama, it's Bankhead Highway. If you're coming from Atlanta, it's Veterans Memorial. And it becomes Broad Street. You know you've reached Douglasville. Look for the blue building with the white rabbit owned by the mouse. Can't tell you any other way to do that. It is a custom frame shop and an art gallery. There's going to be an art show here tonight. You're going to find out. We're going to talk about our Bubble Babies. Bubble Babies is our feature art during the show. People are texting me. Little, Lord have mercy. Somebody, okay. We're live and interactive. Somebody try to tell me something about Little Scrappy. Okay. So, Bubble Babies is always our feature art. And Bubble Babies is is a baby's first piece of art. So you give it to a baby that grows an appreciation with them. So it's something they always have. We'll tell you about that once we coerce Mousy to get on set. Now, but it's language of men, so that means Yolanda's got to zip it, okay? And I might just sit a brother right here. I don't know. Just let them have some conversation. And I might jump behind the camera and produce it. But Kerwin, Thompson, Anthony Goolsby is here with us today. I'm telling you. We've been buzzing about you guys because Kerwin, you stopped by.
Yes.
And you told us about the play. The Mousy usually has a table full of your flyers over here. So she's going to grab me a flyer because you got a discount code.
That's right.
For us to come. TLM. If they go to Rise and Sage Theater to get tickets to the best play in town, use the discount code TLM. Now, the best play in town is called what?
Brothers of Affliction. Come on, man, we know that.
Brothers of Affliction. Now, this is 2 of the 3 brothers that are on stage. And we actually did a count. How many brothers is involved in this production. First and foremost, Rising Sage Theater is 2 wonderful brothers, Kirk D. Hennig, Paris Payton III, and they were actually part of the first production. Correct. So now they've handed over the Rings of the Rose to you guys. And this one here, y'all, I don't know if y'all can see it on the screen, but he usually has that's not makeup. Something happened last night. Y'all got Rudy in the character.
Right. We got a little rowdy.
Okay, well first tell me about the role. Tell us about the play and the roles that you guys play. We'll start.
Oh, what you got?
Okay.
All right, well, I play Tyreek Goins. And am I looking at you or am I looking at
talk
the
to
camera?
the people?
Hello, world.
I'm looking at my phone.
Yes. Well, I'm playing Tyreek Goins. I'm the baby brother of 3, 10 years apart from my older brother here. And so the story starts where I am, well, I don't even want to tell you what the story actually starts, but we have some type of disagreement. And there are truths and lies that have not been shared
as a family.
As a family. And I want to know what the truth is because some things happened when I was a kid that I never had clarity on. And that's what I'm going through the whole play. And then I have a a woman that I love, that I know I should be with forever. My brothers think otherwise. So
here's the thing: it's 3 brothers. Now the 3 brothers. Give us the names of the brother. You play the older brother.
Yeah, I play the oldest brother, Chris Owens.
Chris Owens.
Carlos Houston plays Shane Owens.
Shane Owens, which is the middle brother.
The middle brother.
Okay,
yep.
And then you play the youngest, which is
Tyreek.
Okay.
Theo.
Now, from a woman's perspective, even though it's the language of men, okay, you got this relationships in this play. Like you got the guy who's dealing with the failed relationship and trying to coerce or work with the baby mama.
Right.
Or was it the wife? Was she a wife or the baby mama? Let's give her some perspective.
Yes. No,
okay.
We were never married.
Okay, so she's a baby mama. Then you got baby brother. Have you ever seen that guy? He's just all into a woman who just ain't into him. You know, and you see him like giving everything. You're like, dude, come on, you know. So that's your baby brother. But then you got the middle brother who had the love of his life, who cheated on him.
Right.
So, and then you got these 3 brothers who basically trying to numb this pain. And so they each got an affliction that they deal with. Right. Okay. Right. So even though it's an all-male cast, it's still really the story of 4 women, because that's how I see it. I'm just saying.
Who's the fourth? Mama?
Mother's the first.
Okay.
Mother's the reason why the brothers just kind of is the way they is, right?
Right.
Because that's a storyline that keeps coming up. The baby brother keeps wanting to find out why y'all feel different, why the 2 older brothers feel different about the parents than he did.
Right.
Because it's so many storylines, because you lost your parents. So he has this, they became saints to him, whereas the older 2 brothers had the full-on experience of being raised by these 2 people.
Right.
Okay, and then
that's enough.
That's enough.
You telling the plate.
Oh, because they got to go out. Okay, I know, but see, that's why I tell y'all to go out and see it, because I be want to have dialogue.
Right.
But that's why you got to go to the.
But we can talk about those things that you've already disclosed.
Those are some of the set that's going on. Okay. Now, first and foremost, tell people why they should come and support Rising Sage Theater. Why is that important?
It's important to support Rising Sage Theater because Rising Sage tells our story. There are not a lot of theater companies out there that are bold enough to put on a play like Brothers of Affliction, one that's in your face and not afraid to tell you what the truth, and to address all of the ugly issues that exist in everybody's family.
Everybody.
That's swept under the rug, that nobody wants to address, nobody wants to talk about. And then the situation just festers, and it gets worse until somebody deals with it. So Rising Sage tells these kinds of stories. That's why it's important to support that kind of theater. Otherwise, you ain't gonna see it no place.
You ain't gonna see it no place. And I tell people all the time, and you guys know I've been blogging about this. The only 2 places you're gonna get the truth, and that's in the theater and comedy. That's literally like the only place. But let me tell you how real this play is and how it resonates with different
What's
people.
up, Red Coat?
What's up?
With the red shoes.
This is a meetup, y'all. So we're live. No, but wait. The brother, I went to the talk back on the night that I went to the Sunday matinee, and there was a brother in the audience, and he brought out how y'all pour, because there's a lot of drinking going on in the play, and this brother was like, man, when you pour a little, you pour a lot. I was like, really? Yeah. I didn't even get that, but that's
exactly what we're talking about, because he could relate to the character.
He could relate to that.
He was wondering about my character's drinking. When I pour a little bit versus when I pour a lot, was that an accident? No, it's not an accident, dude. I'm a pro. I know what I'm doing. But he could relate to it.
Oh my God!
Because when he pours a little bit versus pouring a lot, it was for the same reasons that my character would pour a little.
Now, do you find that in the different audiences? Because, like I said, we see the play, and then you guys stay on stage and talk back to us, and hear from the audience and who related to that. Have you seen such a difference in the audience and how you guys interact, or how they interact with you when you're on stage? Do you feel like, or do you know when you hit somebody's pain point on that stage? You can tell.
You hear it.
You hear it. Yeah. What does it sound like? Because I know I was.
Yeah, that's it.
Right. So what does that do to you when you're in character? Does that make you give a little bit more, or what? It makes you give more? Because clearly you hit my brother last night. What were you feeling?
Well, his pretty ass. I had to step him up a little bit. Them light-skinned brothers went out with the '80s, and they're trying to come back.
We back.
We back. I had to scuff them just a little bit.
And it is physical. It is a physical play.
Yeah.
I mean, it's life. It's true to life. It helps you understand. Okay, that's our 9 minutes to talk about. So we're trying to really, really produce. That's our 9 minutes to talk about play. But okay, Fridays you have a show Friday night, which is tonight.
Right.
Yes.
You've got 2 shows on Saturday.
Correct.
2 shows on Saturday.
2 p.m. and 8 p.m.
2 p.m. and 8 p.m. And then, so that's a nice Saturday matinee.
Yes, a long day.
That's a long day.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then you got the Sunday
Yeah,
matinee, and you're playing until November the 22nd.
That is correct.
Okay, and people can go to Rise and Stage Theater, get tickets, use the discount code
TLM, standing for the leading man.
the leading man. And what else we have seen you guys in?
Oh, wow.
I've done some TV. I just did Born Again Virgins.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I just tweeted somebody like, please explain the show. Everybody is loving that show.
Yeah, it's a good show.
I mean, everyone's like, no, don't watch now. You got to go back and watch the first season or something
And
like
you
that.
should like it, like you said, it's centered around 3 women.
Yes.
And talking about not doing the booty.
See?
Uh-oh.
So we don't like that. But
Language
I
of
like the
men.
story.
Language
though.
of men.
You see the conflict.
Speaking of that, I gotta ask y'all because the hot trending
Segue.
topic, the hot
That's
trending
segue.
topic is the brother pressing charges on the girl that twerked on him in the gas station. Here comes our train. I beat the train, y'all. We beat the train.
Wow.
Okay, there is a story that's in the news right now. Come on, we're gonna let the train roll by. We're in downtown. That's the first train we've had in 6 episodes. Remember we said that would be our segue to train. Okay, there is a video that's trending where a brother was in a gas station, good looking brother, and there were 2 sisters in there. They were ready to go to the club, coming from the club. I don't know what they were doing, but they heard a song in their head or in the store and started twerking on the brother and was giving it to him. And he was like, and he pressed charges. He said that it was sexual assaulted. And they said this woman has been arrested. She may face 10 years.
For twerking?
For twerking on the, I mean, she was like, it was scary. But what we found out is a lot of men are afraid of the flirtatious woman now because they feel like, because they're getting hemmed up, they're getting robbed. Look at the,
Do you see my face right now?
If she came over and started twerking right now.
right now.
Son, I'm going to go to the ATM.
Right.
But see, that's the conflict because the brother pressed charges and people are coming at him like, dude, are you crazy? But then when they see the video, they go like, okay, wow, that was a bit. I mean, like, what if his wife and kids were in the car?
What if his wife and kids were in the car? It ain't worth 10
You
years.
didn't already say you got to disconnect.
Well,
Okay, but not
I'm
worth
a
10
very
years, but she
open-minded
should be
person.
fine.
yeah,
How is that open?
I'm a very open-minded person.
Very open-minded person. So sister would have
That wouldn't bother me if it happened in the church parking lot, but that's just me. You understand what I'm saying? That's just me. But, I mean, is it really worth sending a chick to jail for 10 years for?
10 years, she may end up probation, some kind of fine.
He's just that emotionally distraught over that?
Yeah,
Really?
I think he was. He
Really?
was like, because the second sister, the first sister tried to twerk on him. The second sister, I mean, she was
But
like
what
groping
they
him and
look like, though?
going out trying to go. Yeah, they came
Because
out.
not for real. Because if they have a smell emanating from their body,
Wow.
and it's getting on me and it's messing up my clothes, and I'm like, excuse me, miss, I need you off me. Then okay.
Politely is what he said, but then the other one was like, she was like pat down, sitting all over the brother.
But what kind of grown man can't handle that
He had a big
situation
bicep.
on his own without
So,
calling the police? Though?
Are you expecting? So men are expecting language of men.
This was
Language of men.
You grown and you can't handle that and be like,
Tune
thank you,
in,
ma'am,
come
but
on.
no thank you.
Chime in,
I'm
chime
cool,
in.
I'm
Somebody
good.
behind you.
I just want to know if they pinned him down or something.
They damn near pinned him down.
I gotta see the video.
She says
Is
it
it now?
showed his weakness.
Yes, it did.
Weakness for what?
Because if he hadn't called the cops, he might have succumbed to her twerking.
So they came to rescue.
But what if his daughter or somebody was in the car? You going there to pay for gas. I see you in there like, Daddy, really?
But that's not a felony. I mean,
Not
that's
a
like
felony.
that's a.
But if it's a law in the book, she said that she could face 10 years because going by because what they saying if it had been a woman, if one was in there paying for her gas and 2 men were all up her like that, because we already know about the New York like the cat call
Right.
and all that.
But,
If it was
but
a
those
woman,
kind of laws generate
Exist for-
because of chivalry.
Right.
That's why they're on the books in the first place, is because women needed to be protected from men
Right.
because they could not.
so you
protect
saying a man
themselves.
can't use the law in the language of men? You saying a man shouldn't be able?
A man
to
should be
use
able
that
to
law?
handle his business
Right.
and say, "Shall
Yeah,
get up off me?"
but it would have
I'm
also
all right.
flipped
Can we-
if he would have pushed them off of
If he
him.
had touched
it would have
them.
flipped to him.
In the flip
in trouble. So I think that was the wise call. He made the right call.
Made the right call.
The
because the video's out there. This video is trending now, and you can imagine just what kind of ridicule he's getting. Like, dude, you couldn't handle that. Right. Dude, you didn't hit that. You didn't go for that. You know that's going on right now. So he was like, no, I'm about to get paid up in the suit.
They probably didn't have any money. Y'all met at a gas station.
Right, exactly. But that's the whole thing about we live in public. You know, you're on camera everywhere you go. These things happen. There could have been some grave consequences if he did have a woman in the car or a child in the car. Because I'd have been like, you ain't handling that. Yeah. You even had a real fight once you got to the car. You know what I'm saying? So this man, we put it.
I just gotta see the video because I'm really
somebody been here with the video.
I would like to see.
He gonna see the video. Brothers of Affliction, I know now, how much time we got. I know you guys got to go. Okay, so what I want to do is put some more brothers over here with y'all. Should I just come out of the shop and just let the brothers talk about this? Because this is, I'm telling you, this is interesting. Okay, so but again, the play I want to talk about. The play is West End Performing Arts Center.
Correct. Yes.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the way to November 22nd. So, but what days of the week?
Thursday, Friday,
Saturday, Sunday. Yep. And Thursday night is a hot night to get people out in Atlanta.
It really is.
Because y'all had a nice, and not only that, it's every Thursday the Name Your Price night.
Yeah, it's an industry pay what you can night. Yep.
Industry pay what you can night. Did y'all know that?
No.
You can go to the theater. I didn't see you over there, Marley. Hello. Industry pay what you can night on Thursday night. Come out, see the play. It's a great place, great production. It's about three brothers who came through the same household with different views, got different experiences, got different traumas from relationships. Can I say that?
That's right. And all their lives are just jacked up, all three of them.
Okay, so can we talk about the women? Can we switch?
Sure.
I'm going to stop hitting the button. So I want to get to 27 minutes. I don't know. Somebody time this. Okay. Even though the play is written for an all-male cast.
Yes.
Okay, y'all got a brother on the lights and the sound. You got a brother on the stage manager. And it's produced by two brothers. But I, sitting there watching this, I see four women. And that's the mother and the three women who have put the men in this. Well, did women put the men in these predicaments? No. So what is the relationship between the look? See, did we get it?
He's right. You
gonna let him have it? He said no. He said no. Okay, well let's start with the mother. What is the relationship of the three brothers to their mother?
Well, let me start.
No, without telling too much.
Let me start with our mother.
Okay.
Miss Amina McIntyre. Hello, Amina. She is the mother of the show.
The mother of the show.
You see all the guys producing stuff like that.
And that's probably why the role of the women come out through her. Go ahead. Okay.
We wouldn't have no show if it was not for Miss Amina McIntyre.
Okay.
I am telling you.
Okay.
She is a playwright and a producer, but she's also a grad student at Emory.
Okay.
And she's doing a project right now where she's researching how religion intersects with theater.
Oh.
Right? From how we warm up and how we prepare to what's actually in the script, everything.
Okay.
Anyways, so we had to do a lot of scrambling to get this show together and get it set on time.
Right.
And she gave so much of herself to help us with our lines and blocking and fight scenes and everything else like that.
Fight scenes good.
If it was not for Miss Amina McIntyre, wouldn't be no Brothers of Affliction. So that's the mama. You want to talk about our real mom? You want to talk about Stacey? Go ahead.
Okay.
Well, Stacey
is the mother of the three brothers in the play. Okay.
Right, and so from my perspective, she wasn't a real big influence. I was more so with my pops, in my mind.
In your mind.
In my mind.
Because in the play,
easy.
I know, but can't. Okay, go ahead.
No, but I'm saying.
I don't want to give away too much.
Yeah. So for me, I came up. She was cool. Dad loved her.
Right.
She spent time with me and my brothers.
Because you were the younger child.
Right.
The younger child syndrome. Everybody loves the younger child.
I was the baby. I got what I wanted when I wanted and how I wanted. At a young age.
Okay.
But after mom, yeah.
And you can't say too much of it. But each of the men in their ongoing relationships has a little bit of Stacey going on. Either they trying to have a Stacey or not have a Stacey.
See, I'm as loyal or as committed as Stacey was. I believe mom was committed to dad. Like she was there for him and she loved, and that's how
what
I loved.
The younger child saw of the parent. Okay, now the older brother, the female that was in his life was who? Lisa.
Keisha.
There's a Keisha in the play, y'all.
Keisha in the play.
And Keisha is everything you think of Keisha is.
Yeah.
Even though we never see Keisha, we know Keisha, right? Okay. So there's a Keisha in the play.
Right. So, ladies, chime in if you're watching. And my question to you is, if the father of your child
In the language of men.
could not pay child support for whatever reason it was, but he still wanted to have visitation, would you let him? Chime in on that, please. So, yeah, situation.
That's a big issue we've been talking about at DryerBuzz for probably a couple of years.
Right. So what's more important? I know if in an ideal world, you need the time and the money. But if you couldn't have one, which one would you take? What's more important, do you think, for your child? To have money from the dad or to have time with his father?
So we spend time during the play watching him trying to convey that to Keisha.
Right.
At the same time dealing with the afflictions of trying to take care of baby brother and middle brother, all of that. And that's a conflict in and of itself. You're trying to have a relationship with a man and then he got all this family stuff going on. So Keisha was like, I'm done with all y'all.
Yeah.
She's just done with all y'all.
And I've had a couple female friends of mine come to me like that, be like, yo, I want to be with this dude, but he's got too much stuff going on with his family. They're always pulling and tugging on him. Is that a problem for y'all ladies?
It's a big problem.
Yeah.
It is a problem. Ladies, it's a problem.
It takes away from his time, his ability to be able to love you because he's always taking care of family drama, but he loves you. You just don't have the time to get to you.
Y'all experience that?
I don't have any kids yet.
He don't have any kids, but then again, he is a man.
Right.
Okay.
But is it not admirable that your man is taking care of his family when you want a man who takes care of his family? Because isn't that going to?
But see, that's the whole thing with the play is we see these three brothers trying to be validated by somebody.
Right.
Right. And one of the things I've said about Brothers of Affliction is it's the story of men who can't have what they love.
That's right.
And if the younger brother wanting to love this woman who ain't feeling him, and the older brother trying to have a relationship with his son while saving his two other brothers, and then the middle brother, the story of Carlos, and what's Shane?
Yep,
Shane's thing is Shane ran off with, can't tell you. Okay, well, the woman that Shane's like is he can't have her because, can I say it?
Yeah, you already did. Okay. Go ahead.
Because she cheated. That particular story is he loves this woman, but she cheated. And in essence, he was trying to have his Stacy too, which was the loyalty of his mother.
That's right.
To the father. But we keep coming back to these relationships that men have, but then we don't really talk about what went on, because the story thing is you trying to find out, well, why do you feel different about the father?
Right.
And you've been the oldest kid is trying to figure out, well, what you went through life like, why don't I have dad's name? Why did the next child have dad's name? So what's that relationship? It's things that are in our head that's on stage in this play.
Which is why we do talkbacks after the show.
Because everybody
so you can ask these questions to the writer and to the actors and present all this stuff.
There you go. Okay, so
when you come to the show,
Brothers of Affliction.
Brothers of Affliction, risingsagetheater.com/tickets. Use the promo code TLM to get 15% off tickets.
Or come here and get coupons.
Or come into Mousie's place, Tuoia's. And what's that address on Broad Street? What's Broad Street? What's the address?
6786 Broad Street.
6786 West Broad Street in Douglas, BZ. Come through, get your coupons, get some great art, get some pictures framed, all that stuff. Meet Miss Mouse, she's fantastic. And come see us. Come do the talkbacks after the show. You can ask us whatever you want, and we're going to give you honest answers. So make sure you really want to know the answer.
It's like a holiday. It leading up to Thanksgiving Day. What's your favorite part about your role?
By my role, the smoking. You get the smoking. Yeah, because it's just the reason and what's driving me to smoke.
Right. That's the story. Is what's driving you? What's driving you to smoke? What's driving the older brother to drink, and the other brother has an affliction of drugs.
Mm-hmm. And Anthony's such a fantastic actor. He don't smoke just to smoke because it's fun. And, my character gets to smoke. Cool. It's not that. He really cares about why he smokes, and he cares about the underlying below the why. This dude goes like 7 layers deep. He's like those 7-layer quesadillas or lasagna. Doing 7 layers of lasagna, right? That's this dude in his acting process. Why that? Why that though? Yeah. Why that? Yeah. Dude, it's so blunt, man. But no, why why? It's fantastic.
I mean,
But it makes them
the
great.
same thing with your role and the
Yes.
different layers that you pour.
Yes, but I'm like a 4-layer dip.
4 layers. Okay.
He's
Okay. And then of course,
Yeah.
I wish Carlos could have been here. There is a third to this trio, y'all. Let
And
me
he's the
tell
one
y'all.
on coke, right?
Big sexy.
He would be here. He would be running this right now.
Big
I'll just
sexy.
listen to him.
Awesome.
Ladies love big sexy.
I think you guys are doing an amazing job in Brothers of Affliction. It is the best show, which is why we picked it up as our feature show for the month. I tell you every day to go see this play. Friday night, Saturday, 2 shows on Saturday. A matinee and then the regular show at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. on a Saturday night. Go sit in a live theater. Don't wait for like the 4 movies to come out that speak to you. Go to the theater. You can go to the theater every week. Every week. And support local. When you support local, when you support live, you're supporting local. All right, Rising Sage Theater.com. That's theater with an R-E.
That's right.
Okay. And use the discount code
TLM.
There you go. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, so they're gonna hop on. We're gonna give you a few minutes with our regular Rita Fashion and Thomas. We'll talk about fear. Do you want to come in and talk about fear?
Sure.
Or y'all want to stand? Y'all want to stand the shot? You can slide down. We can let the sister come in.
We're gonna make room for Miss Pretty Rita.
Okay. All right. And our another regular is coming in. Come on, let's go.
The wine lady's here.
Oh yeah. Are we sipping today? Are we sipping today? We're sipping. We're sipping today. Stay tuned because we have a travel and wine segment, and then, and I don't know where we are on time. I was trying to time the show. Okay, it's already 12, so 12:20 from 12 to 12:27. 3 minutes with Rita. Is that good? And then we'll come back and with the after, because we got to do the after show. But I really want to have 27 minutes where all that audience that's behind the camera, they take the hot seat and tell us how to become their customer. So we're gonna talk about that. You just heard the brothers. Right. The language of men. Are we afraid to hear what men say? And then I'll ask you what's our challenge for this week for Fearless Friday.
Are we afraid to hear what men say?
What did you think about what the fellas just told us? What did you think about the fellas talking about dude with the twerking?
Okay, as far as
it's a lot, right?
Mm-hmm. Everybody deserves their personal space.
Exactly.
Now, I think that if he put his hands on her, it would have become a different issue.
Right.
So I believe his actions were correct. Now, as far as the sentencing is concerned, 10 years for twerking, I think that's a bit much.
I know.
Yeah.
But we got to think about it. See, those are the laws on the books. Because what happens is we get all this conversation out there, and then we don't give any pushback when a lawmaker takes that. Because see, what's trending on social media, what trends on the social news, on the news, I guess it is social news these days, right? What people don't understand is when you allow it to happen on the news, when they get to say those things, somebody goes under that gold dome, and they can take that and say, hey, that's the sentiment of the people. Right. We need a law. Somebody goes and writes that law. But what they do, they use media to desensitize us. See, a lot of people looked at that video of those women being aggressive with that man and said, okay, well, yeah, it's right. If you flip it around, if it had been a woman, and we don't give any pushback for it, then next thing you know, you start building a prison for women.
Right.
Because now you got the mindset that women are as aggressive with men. When we don't push back on this, we can now say, I can go under the gold dome and say that women are as aggressive with men and use that video. The last time we saw a video like that, remember it was Soldier Girl. Everybody knows Soldier Girl on the MARTA train. Remember it was a young girl, she was going buck wild on the MARTA train. Well, that same week, they went under the gold dome and they got the stand your ground law. Well, I can shoot you on the MARTA train if you get into my personal space. I can shoot you at the bus stop. I can shoot you in the restaurant if you get into my personal space, because seeing that video over and over made you mad or desensitized you to whether or not a person can have this or that kind of right. So there's, like he said, there's layers to all of this.
Right.
And the fact that people are saying, oh, well, he was a man, he should have been able to handle himself, that can have an opposite effect to that, to where we don't get the laws that we need. And if you've never sat in the courtroom where you have to go and get the restraining orders, I've had to sit in the courtroom where it's woman after woman after woman and 1 or 2 men. And when the men get up there, you got 2 men trying to press charges. The crazy women out there, they tear up the cars with it, all that. It's funny. We laugh at it. but it's still a real fear.
Yeah, and actually it's not funny.
It's not funny.
No, when you destroy somebody's property,
yeah,
there's nothing funny about that.
And I'm telling you, but if a man can't get people to side with him on these things, I mean, because when you look at that video, it's pretty bad. One, because women should not behave like that, and I ain't heard nobody say that yet. That, you know, women, you shouldn't be behaving like that all up in the store and all that kind of stuff.
No, they shouldn't.
So one of the things I was reading, she talks to our entrepreneurs about last week. What was it? Tough mindset.
Right.
And the week before that was take the ego out of it. I've been in business. What's our Fearless Friday tip for this week?
For this week, do not allow your fears to make you comment.
Oh, don't be common.
Yeah.
Don't be common. Lunch just arrived from the cynical. That's a segment. I want to keep all the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk more with you on the talk back.
Right.
Because we're trying to get into our editorial. And our editorial on Second Friday will always be language of men, which means we're going to stack this building up with men. So the first entrepreneurs to jump on, you want to slide down and stay with me to talk with the entrepreneurs. What we normally do about this time, we always hope for another train. But because I really want that train motif in my show. And Rita Foster Thomas, if you have questions about being fearless in business, you can tweet her right now. I'm getting like 1,000 notifications. You can tweet her right now using hashtag Fearless Friday. She jumps on that hashtag. She is at Distinctive Ops. And she basically helps you in your business to go pro. Okay, and we're gonna have a segment on First Fridays. I'll tell you about, okay, the editorial is on First Friday. We always want to talk about closing the wealth gap. Absolutely. Okay, and being true in business. Second Friday, language of men, and not to give the women the final word. The third Friday will be the language of women. And then on fourth Friday will always be everything about our community. We could flip the camera and show you guys everything. I'll affect our Instagram of what goes on behind the camera. We got community from one end of the building to the next. This now is the hot seat. Who's ready? Who's first? Who wants to go first in the hot seat? It's men. We're gonna get to the women. Let's get one of our fellas over. Come on, because you got a book. Did you bring a copy of the book with you? I know you got to be ready. Let's go. Okay, then we're gonna talk to Local Miles Davis. Hashtag Local Miles Davis. See what he's got up. All right, now I hear they're buzzing all over town about this book. It's called Perfect Imperfections: The Struggle. The struggle between guilt and expectation, fear and revelation. Damn, my brother. Roosevelt McQueen in the building. This is a big book. This is a big book. All right. Can everybody see that? We'll put that on the shot as well. Now, you got into the hot seat because somebody in our community has read this book and said you got the buzz.
Yes.
Okay, so give us a try. How'd you get to the hot seat?
Well, actually, my friend Marlene,
our neighborhood barista. She fixes our when you get the barista buzzing about your book, I'm just saying. That's how you do. That's how you do. Okay.
Yeah, no, I used to work for this company, and she came in for a service.
Okay.
And whatnot, and it just took off from there. Basically, she and her husband, and we met some time ago.
This is my coffee here. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, she and
this
I.
This is me, right?
That's you.
Okay.
We met outside of that venue, and our friendship. That's where it is now. So it's and
friendship times the buzz.
They learned that I was writing a book.
You were writing a book then.
I was writing a book,
okay.
And then but
is it poetry? I'm looking at the page.
The entire book is written. The whole novel is written in poetry and prose.
Wow.
Not a compilation of poems or anything. It's from beginning to end.
Why guilt and expectation? Because I have spent this year learning about guilt, and I had to find like a quick definition. And one of the things I know is that guilt is a feeling.
It is.
And when I feel it, it means that I have compromised my own standard.
Yes.
And so this is gonna be perfect. And that's just been my lesson of life this year. So how did you decide you would write about? Because we hear all the time about forgiving and so forth. But guilt, expectation, fear, and revelation. Explain that to us.
Well, with the guilt, everything stems from this man's
the main character's name is Jonathan. There's a struggle with a lack of identity. And I don't mean just somebody telling him this is who you are, but being able to extrapolate from, his surroundings and the people that his circle of influence, being able to extrapolate from them the things about him that he can hold tangible to himself, or things.
So when we were talking about Brothers of Affliction, that resonated with you.
Yes.
Okay.
There was the book. The guy is in a sort of like a now day type a setting or whatnot, but then he reflects.
Right.
So you have the first chapter that talks about his current existence, and then from there it sort of backtracks. It's like he goes into a reminiscent, from when he was a kid, but it starts from a point where it's the firsts of everything that he can internalize is necessary for his development.
Okay.
And so
is it that he has a revelation, and then goes back?
End, yes.
Okay. So what's the first that he experiences? The guilt or of expectation, or the fear?
It's the guilt. It's the conforming to what everybody expects of him.
Okay.
And so therein lies the battle between the guilt and expectation. It's like while I'm trying to find myself, I can't, because of what everybody else is telling me I should be, or I should be doing, and everything.
Are you John, or
I don't know
pieces
what you're
of it? Oh, you just gonna pass it on. Which is your favorite piece? Which is your favorite piece?
Well, the entire book, it's, for me, when I read the book when I go back, any part of it I'm reading, and it's very surreal.
You gonna read us?
It's
a little something?
I don't know. If you want.
Yeah, I want you to read. Give us a little something. I think y'all think he should give us a little something. Yeah. Just a little something. While you find that, I'm gonna get my coffee ready. I'm gonna walk out the shop.
The entire book is a favorite for me because I read it and it's like it's surreal. I don't even believe that. Did I write that?
Yeah. I know that feeling.
Here it says, the parade of lies, treachery, and deceit intertwined with lust, idolatry, and defeat. Not just for days or months, but for years, that relationship passed through the streets of the Atlanta township. One Sunday morning, while in the presence of many, Regina met Devin Jefferson, who was set apart from plenty. Devin just moved to Atlanta from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to pursue a master's degree in Christian marriage counseling. Both poorly timed and interesting, the encounter introduced a twist to the severely complicated existence she egregiously found herself amidst. This is actually, this is the sort of a glance into the life of the person that had one of the most significant changes, or caused one of the most significant changes in the life of the main character, Jonathan. And so the book focuses a lot on those two relationships. When it's reminiscent for him, and then it comes into a now day for her, and then it reminisces on. There's a reminiscence for her. It's like the first book of a 3-book series. I think is going to make it. 450 pages was an accident.
An accident how?
I was just writing, and when I picked the pencil up the last time, I cried like a baby, because it's like, not just because it was finished, but it's like the story is told. So yes, it is a fiction novel, but it is based on a true story. And so you hear things in here where, for instance, you can see where the guy starts to transition in his identity or whatnot. But the biggest struggle the biggest struggle is the health factor. He's looking to his family, and he sees that the only thing that he has in common with them is his last name. He finds himself in a lot of bad relationships, and he's still trying to find, even though he is able to find things within the relationship. Okay, this is my area of these are my challenges, these are the things that I need to work on. He's still trying to glean from somebody who doesn't exist. So since the relationship with his father doesn't exist, you don't see the book capitalizing on that relationship. However, there are specific points within his life, these specific transitions or whatever, like when he was in the military and he didn't get his familial support or whatnot. He's there, he graduates from boot camp, everybody's embracing their family, but nobody's there for him. He's like, God, if my dad were here, you know, if I knew my dad would be here. He's like, oh, my boy. Yeah, that's my boy. You know, and that happens.
Funny you say that. I'm just going to interject for a second because one of the things I just did a year of radio where we talked about fatherhood. And one of the guys in the last one that we did in the series, he told us that he drew from in becoming a father, not having a father, he had to draw from his imagination and sitcoms.
Wow.
And sitcoms. And so when I hear you say that, because he said fatherhood to him was everything he imagined his dad would be. And then to hear you say that as well. It's like, so that's why for Sunday we talk about fatherhood because it's in the play. It's in your book. Now when people now you're an author. Now what is that like been like?
It's surreal. I'm meeting people that I never, like, such as you all, in the artistry, you know, or in the arts or what have you, that I never. It's not like I was telling my friend Miles a moment ago. I didn't actually. It's not something I was campaigning for.
Because you said accident.
Yeah.
This happened by accident.
I had a dream one night, and it was sort of about to wake up. So I wake up, and the only thing that made sense to me was to write. But I write this poem, and where'd that come from? This was literally like 2.5 years ago. So I've never, professionally, I've never written anything. I mean, college, you know, that kind of thing. It's whatever was required, but I've never written anything to be observed on this level.
So how does it feel
like
now
that.
when you do, I'm sure you're getting out books are selling, you're doing book signing, when you see somebody walk away with your book and you know they're about to go explore what really is a part of you, how does that feel?
It's so very.
Do you want to say like, come back? You know, or
the only thing is that I see relationships. For me, it's I see the opportunity because I know that if the person reads, they're going to reach back. The book is circulating, for instance, in New York, and this lady, random person, she just sends me she looks me up on Facebook, sends me a message telling me how the book had blessed her.
Wow.
And so it wasn't, while the book primarily speaks to the issues that are common among men or whatnot, a lot of people can identify with it. It crosses gender. And
so who is the book for? Who's your reader?
My reader is the serious reader. Because of the way that it's written, there are no age boundaries or whatnot. If you take reading seriously, you will read it, and I think that because of the way that it's written, it allows the reader to stay connected, you know. And so, you know, I don't know. It's different. It's different. I walked. My brother and I, before I wrote the book, my kid brother and I, we walked into a discount bookstore, and this is where I was going with that. We walked into a discount bookstore, and it just hit me. I'm going to write a novel. I'm going to write a novel, but it's going to be in poetry. Now, by this time, I'd only written maybe like 4 poems or whatnot, but everybody was asking me, when's the book coming out? When is this or what? I'm like, okay, well, yeah, pump your brakes. Just, you know, let's just see what's going to happen. But I'm in this bookstore, and it makes sense to me. Everything that I'm reading, I mean, I look at the covers and I flip the pages, and everything looks the same for the most part. And but I didn't see anything like this. I'd seen books that had, you know, poems, that kind of thing, but not a novel that was written like that. And so I wanted to write it the way that it's written, deliberately, to slow the reader down. Okay. Because there's a lot you can read. Sometimes you can pick up a book, read the first few chapters, little bit in the middle, the end, and even just the brief synopsis or whatever, and you can almost completely figure the story out. But I wanted people to see here that there's a reason to identify with the characters.
All right, the struggle between guilt and expectation, fear and revelation. Roosevelt, did you say Roosevelt or Roosevelt?
It's Roosevelt.
Roosevelt, because then my girl, they used to say Roosevelt McQueen.
Yeah.
Now, where can we get the book and how can we follow you?
I'm a few different places. It's available at BarnesandNoble.com. It's Amazon.com. I went into Books A Million. I went to Books A Million. Didn't know I was asking them about a book signing possibilities, and she was like, "Well, let me see if you're on our website." I was like, "Well, I don't think." And she's like, "Okay, you're on our website, so, but it's like, okay." So booksamillion.com, and of course my personal website. You can go to RooseveltMcQueen.com or to it's Perfect Imperfections book.com.
And how'd you come up with the title, Perfect Imperfections?
It was like the dream. It just happened, basically. I don't really know how to explain it because I was fumbling around. I was. When I started writing, I didn't have the title. I didn't know what I was going to call it. As a matter of fact, I was going to call it based on the title of the dreams. It's the dreams that I was having. It was. I entitled the poems "Angel in My Dreams" because I kept seeing this angel with no face.
Okay.
But we were interacting, and I was like, there was this love that was taking place. I'm like, who the heck is this? And so it's like, okay, it's this person that I had this first date with, or that kind of thing. And I'm like, whatever. But it didn't really happen. So I wanted to call the book that, but there wasn't enough of that to make it a story for me, at least.
Right.
And so I'd gotten to maybe page like 100 pages before I came up with the title. And it hit me as funny because after I came up with the title, I heard this, what's the song by, oh my goodness, what's the kid's name? He's an R&B artist. The Perfect Imperfections, the words in his lyrics. And so I was like,
so that's why it's a popular hashtag out there. Y'all know I already checked the hashtag, right? And it is a popular hashtag. Who is it?
You talking about John Legend?
John Legend,
Yeah.
I'm getting old, man.
Okay.
Stroke of luck for me right there.
Exactly. So it's but yeah, it's in his. I was like, are you kidding me? So I didn't think it was an original concept or whatever, but
okay. So when we come to see you perform, you gonna play some John Legend and read from the pool. Y'all seeing all that, right? I'm just saying, John Legend playing some candles, some sounds, maybe even a show at Mousie's. Everybody gets a show at Mousie's. Well, thank you so much. This is gonna be a perfect stocking stuffer. I'm telling you, Perfect Imperfections. I was already on my Instagram. People say, well, why is she not being? Because I'm creating buzz. I had to got a piece of video of him speaking already out there on my Instagram and the cover of the book, okay, as well as the hashtag Perfect Imperfections. Thank you so much for rounding out the language of men. Now, I want you to jump out, local Miles Davis. We have to call him local Miles Davis. Isn't that the awesome statement? My guys on from the play. I know they had to run. So now I'm going to talk with local Miles Davis. We're going to bring in a piece. We're going to bring in a piece. Sure. Yeah, let's bring in a piece here. Just grab something so you can show it and talk about. Because, as you know, Mousie's Tuoia is an anchor in our community. And so there's a lot that happens here. Not only was she open to us bringing in the scope, and we scope the scopes, but there is, you might have to hold it up a little bit in the shot. But there's a lot that goes on here. We had the wine tasting on Tuesday. We had First Friday. Last Friday. We recapped that. We'll talk about First Friday. But tonight is all about local Miles Davis, and he is an artist. So let me tell you why he's jumping back in my scope. Because when we had the arts walk for musical arts on the plaza, pretty much every location up and down Broad Street was filled with art, okay? And I was scoping just down the way here at the, Douglasville School of Arts. And I walked by a painting, and everybody on the scope was like, stop, go back. And I'm like, where? I'm like, this and they loved it because it was lilies with faces.
Right.
And they thought it resonated with Alice in Wonderland.
That's true.
Alice in Wonderland. Yeah. And then they started asking me all these questions. Well, why did he do that? What was he thinking? And how did he feel? And I'm like, okay, this is like my first time exploring art. And y'all asked me some deep stuff. And I came down to Tuoia's, and you were here.
Yep.
And so we got a chance. Yeah, he got a chance to jump on the scope, and they had questions again still about his artwork. Explain local Miles Davis. Do you mind we call you local Miles Davis?
Not at all.
Not because that's your plan now, right?
I've been doing that my whole life. My name is Miles Davis, by the way. That's my real name.
Okay. So did your mother love jazz?
She did, actually.
Okay.
She wasn't a huge jazz aficionado, but she was aware of who Miles Davis was.
Okay.
I mean, who wasn't really?
Right.
Especially in that era.
Right.
But my mom's maiden name was Miles. So it worked out very well that my mom's name is Miles. She knew who he was.
Okay.
Truth be told, I played music until I was in 3rd grade. I was actually getting pretty good, and then I realized my little brain wrapped around who Miles Davis was. And
Right,
I was like, put this down.
You know,
So-
didn't Miles Davis, didn't he paint as well?
He did paint a little bit.
He did, okay, yeah.
And I didn't know that. So I've been a professional artist for about 10 years.
Okay.
And when we did our website and stuff, that's why my website is massiveburn.com, not milesdavis.com.
Say it again.
Massiveburn.com.
Massive Burn. M-A-S-S-I-V-E.
M-A-S-S-I-V-E.
Burn.
B-U-R-N.com.
Now, what does that mean?
That's a good question, actually. Well, because my name is Miles Davis, I couldn't do milesdavis.com, right?
Clearly.
So, and because of my generation, I was raised in the 80s, and I do a lot of, like, pop, cartoony style work.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that, I'm sure, more in a moment. But the Massive Burn name for the website came from a tattoo I had on my back.
Okay.
So the logo is the M. That was my initial.
Right.
So when I got out of college, couldn't do milesdavis.com. We went through a bunch of names.
Okay.
And Massive Burn, when I first started, I did a lot of spiritual work. I still do a lot of spiritual work. And it's not your little happy-go-easy spiritual work either. It's very the conundrum, the back and forth of human nature, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all together. And that being the case, the Massive Burn for me kind of dealt with that wordage anyway. Dealt with the Holy Spirit. If you're familiar with that iconography, it's fire, fires of hell, fires of the Holy Spirit, and the inspiration inside of an artist or a creative person. That massive burn inside of them. I know I was talking to Roosevelt before we started filming a little bit about that.
Because the language of men, the men get together, they talk, they huddle, they do that. You know,
huddle.
Women don't do that. Y'all know we don't do that. We don't do that. Did y'all have these kind of deep conversations before coming on the scope? Right. Apparently they bonded. They clearly bonded. That's the language of men. Okay.
Yeah, that's we hide in the corner. We're outnumbered. We're a little bit nervous. We're outnumbered. Right? We protect ourselves, you know?
Oh, okay.
No twerking in here.
No twerking. Don't twerk.
No twerking.
Okay.
So the situation, so Massive Burn kind of dealt with that whole, the human spirit and the inspirational flame inside of pretty much everybody that I've talked to.
Okay.
Whether they do it or not, or pursue it or not, is a different matter.
Right. So that's a lot of mission behind your work.
It's a lifelong passion. It's not going away.
So now hold this up and tell us about your show. Your show is here at Tuoia's tonight.
Yes, it's at Tuoia's tonight.
Okay.
You gotta get the address.
They're trying to see the film. They're trying to see the painting.
Incredible.
Oh,
so that's
that
one
awesome.
there. So this is actually a print. The original was 2 foot by 4 foot. And here's another one here. This is called Launch Forth into the Deep. And this is just about a tombstone that kind of came to life with an angel and a demon, and the doves are flying off, you know. So, and these are just prints. We have the originals here.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, when we open the scope, it starts out on the other side. So that open shot that you see on the scope is his work on the back. And in the after show, we'll give you a little bit of preview. But you need to come out to Tuoia's tonight and check out the artwork.
What time?
It's amazing. What time?
7 to 10.
7 to 10. So I mean, that's an awesome Friday night.
Yeah, we got wine too.
We got wine. Okay.
We got wine.
So now you do artist work. What are some of the other things that you're into?
Well, my artwork, I was very fortunate that my wife is a graphic designer.
Okay.
Love you, babe. Marissa Davis.
You did make sure she got the link to watch, right?
She did. Yep.
Okay.
I called her beforehand.
Oh, okay.
But she actually is a graphic designer, web designer. So
Okay.
she found me painting in a hole in a little basement apartment about a little over 10 years ago. And I was already going full-fledged art, but I was not very technically apt. So that being the case, she kind of stepped in and filled those shoes for me, and I've been very fortunate. We were dating for about a year. She surprised me with the website.
Oh,
so
love it.
Yeah.
Love
and now we're married, see?
There you go. He trying to tell y'all something.
Yeah.
So you want a man, give him a website.
7 years, though. It took me 7 years. I was slow moving.
Wait, so she gave you a website, it still took you 7 years.
7 years after that, yeah. 8 years later.
Where's the Butterpup?
I come from a divorced family. What do you want from me, you know?
Where's the Butterpup?
The Butterpup stuff, it's not with me tonight. I'll bring it tonight.
He's going to bring it tonight. And then what is it, how do you feel when somebody, because I know sometimes artists, it's hard for them to part with their work. Is it hard for you to part with it?
It wasn't at first, no. I've always done it since I was 5 years old.
Okay, so
I was
you
selling stuff in middle school and high school to friends for like $50 or $100, you know, stuff like that. High school, all my buddies were in like the low riding cars and the little trucks and all that stuff with the switches.
You see, I can see somebody wanting this on their vehicle.
And I would design stuff for them. I designed tattoos. I designed album covers for bands.
Wow.
So I've done all that. So I've never really. Now the one thing my brother learned the hard way is that when you're mad at me, don't go ripping up my artwork. That I take very personally. I think in high school, brothers are brothers. You know?
Right. And that's the thing about it. They go after the thing you love. Right. Yeah. Trying to get.
And he learned real fast not to do that. So in that sense, it means.
He's probably mad at you. He's like, he's gonna tell that story for life. I should have never touched this artwork. He would tell that story. There's lots of hearts on the artwork. So thank you guys so much for watching and sharing. Okay, again. Art show tonight.
Art show tonight, 7 to 10.
7 to 10 here at Tuoia's. What's the price range?
Price range? Oh, we have prints and posters. We have as low as $20. We have greeting cards for $3.50. Uppers to the originals that we have 2 foot by 4 foot. Some are 30 by 40. Those usually run about $1,000 to $2,000.
Tell me one thing I know people like to hear. Tell me about your art space. Like what's your creative space, and then what is it that inspires you to when you start a piece? What do you see it first, or does it start to come to life when you start?
That's a good question, and I'm going to say that it's the second part of that question. That's the answer. It is very much my sketchbook would be very disappointing for a lot of people because I do a lot of stick figures. I don't do a lot of color in my sketchbooks. I'll write the colors down, like blues and purples on this piece or whatever. So I've had people want to look at my sketchbooks, and I think they'd be pretty disappointed for the most part. But what it comes down to is I get the idea, and then I go right to the canvas. And sometimes I'll draw first, sometimes I'll go right to painting. And then from that point, like you mentioned in your question, it's that process that's really exciting for me. Because sometimes in the middle of the painting, I'll call it a happy accident. Or I'll try something random just to challenge myself. And then from that, I have to react. It's not like on a computer where I can just delete a layer and it takes something away. It's there. So now either I have to do something to fix it, or I can make it work. So for me, it's a very therapeutic and a relationship with the medium. It's a give and take. And at a certain point, it starts talking back to me. And saying, I need this, I need that, I need this.
This one right here? What does that say to you?
That one's called The Greater Understanding. And you might see it online on my website, but what it is, it's basically a meditative pose with different religious iconographies. And it's a blue figure that has 6 arms.
I tell you what, while he describes it, I'm going to flip the camera around, let them see that.
Okay.
We can do perfect. There it is. We're talking about this one. Let me take the screen back up. Let's see. Where's the camera? Okay, it's the bigger one in the shop.
Yeah, it's the one right here with the guy sitting down with the wine glass pouring out. So you can't see. It's right in the middle almost. But that piece essentially is a religious piece that deals with meditation and different religious iconographies. I was raised in Christian iconography by my Catholic stepmother. But that covers anything from Islam to Buddhism to Catholicism. And there's a gold ring in the middle and the bottom that basically, for me, is the simplest form of the infinity symbol. So once you draw a circle, it goes around and around and around forever.
Cindy, if you would just kind of point to it above you there so they can really get an idea of what we're talking about. Right. Okay.
So but that kind of touches on that one. And of course, every piece I do, once the idea starts taking place, I try to challenge myself on a technical level. So on different pieces, sometimes I'll really try to push myself with cloth or with wings or with water or something of that nature.
And then the one right under that. What's going on with the lady friend right there? What's going on with her?
No, that's one of Mouse's favorites. Mouse really like that one. That one's called the feisty one, and that one I did a while ago.
She looked like somebody stole my phone.
It's like my wife, really.
Okay.
I'm kidding, babe. Love you.
WTF.
Right?
She said WTF. Okay.
But that was called the feisty one, and that was a study painting. So that's something I did kind of as a warm-up painting before I go to my bigger canvases.
Okay.
Like I'll play around and kind of get warmed up. It's almost like being an athlete or a writer. You know, sometimes you have to kind of do it for a little while and kind of get your
So
mindset
that particular
in.
one led to something else?
I'm sure it did, yeah. I, mean, I did that probably 6 years ago. It was something that I actually forgot I had. And I
We can actually turn and go down the wall. That and remember, whenever we're scoping, I always tell you guys the opposite wall features artwork, and so Miles Davis, that's his work, and he's gonna have a show in here tonight at Tuoia. We're gonna see and tell them once again your website is.
My website is massiveburn.com. And I also do kids illustration for kids books, and we're launching that, and I'll bring some books tonight. And that's at Butterpup, P-U-P, and friends.com.
Awesome. Okay, so you've got layers. Men
got layers.
have layers. Hashtag the language of men. All right, is that all, my fellas? All right, so what we're going to do is, where are we on time? Where are we on time? Let me see here. 12:30. Okay, so what we're going to do is, we're going to stop this scope so you guys can go ahead and start enjoying the replays and let this truly be a language of men. But we're going to come back for an after show where everybody's going to start jumping in the hot seat. Okay, so we got 2 scopes going on, but everybody's asked, because a lot of people are watching on their lunch hour, and they want us to kind of try to get into that. Lunch by the Cynical. You want to come and kind of show what we got, or because we're going to have lunch. You don't have to go to where she's going to go to the camera.
Okay.
You want us to go to the camera?
Today I brought down some.
Come around. Just say hello to everybody.
Hey everybody. We have some sandwiches. I believe there's
Girl, step back into that camera there. You ain't got to sit down. Turn to the camera.
Hey, we have some chicken salad sandwiches on croissant.
Okay.
There's a Reuben sandwich in there,
Okay.
turkey and ham.
Okay.
So those are all. She just cut all the sandwiches in 4s, so there's enough for everyone.
So stay back, and we're gonna get everybody on the segment. But I really wanted second Friday, language of men. We're gonna stack the deck with the fellas, and then we're gonna come back with the after scope. Oh, that's cool, isn't it? After scope. And show you what our community looks like, the number of entrepreneurs. They usually jump in the hot seat, and Rita takes them through some steps to help them create buzz about their business and let us know how to become their customer. We've got Cindy. Did Cindy step out? Cindy Abella Travels. She's going to have a travel segment in our after scope, so we're going to talk to her. But I really wanted this to be about the men. Local Miles Davis, Roosevelt McQueen. Shout out to Brothers of Affliction, Kerwin, Thompson, Anthony Goolsby. Stop by. If you didn't catch that part of the segment, you'll be able to catch it all on the replay. Did I miss any of my fellas? Was that everybody? All right, guys, another great episode of Behind the Buzz. Now, stay tuned for the after scope. We're going to press stop. We're going to press start. We're going to press share. You're going to watch the replay and enjoy the buzz.
You are definitely a spiritually filled, thinking woman, and that is what we've been lacking in our community.
Go now to DryerBuzz.com and follow @DryerBuzz on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. It's all about the buzz.